Hi, my name is Terri Sproul and I want to welcome you to my studio. Today I'm playing with Andy Skinner's stamps from Stampendous, and we're doing a really cool Life is a Vision technique. First off, I didn't get on the video, I apologize. I cut out this anchor using Proxon's tools, and here I'm using Proxon's pen sander to clean up all the edges where I cut it out. This little pen sander is amazing because, as you can see in the video, it's got a really small little head, so it allows you to get into all kinds of little spots and get it done really well. So once I got that all cleaned up, now I'm grabbing Andy Skinner's stamps from Stampendous called Industrial and Indian ink in black. I like to use Indian ink because it is a permanent ink, and I'm randomly stamping all over my anchor to give it a really aged look. Want to remind you to make sure when you have a 3D object like I have here that you do stamp around the edges of your project also, so that if somebody does see it from the side, it really does look like it's rusty, which is what I will have once I'm done here. This will have a really rusty look to it. Next, I'm grabbing a bunch of chipboard pieces that I got from Gina's Laser Cut Designs, and the same industrial stamps from Andy Skinner, and again the same black Indian ink, and I'm stamping all of them to give them an aged look also. I will paint them here in a few seconds. I'm getting all my pieces ready for my collage later. Andy Skinner has 3 different stamps in this industrial look, so I grabbed another one just to give it a little more aging. Giving it a quick dry, because even though it is a permanent ink, if it is wet when you go to put on your paint, it will smear, and I did not want that. Now I'm grabbing my Deco Art medium paint, and I'm coloring, or going to paint the whole object here to give it a really rusty look. Doesn't that look like rust already? Isn't that just amazing? I have a tendency of not pulling out enough paint, so you'll see me quite a few times adding more paint to my desk there. I guess it's better to have not enough paint than have too much. And just like I stamped around the edges, make sure you paint around your edges, giving it a complete finished look. And like I said earlier, I didn't get a chance to record, well, I recorded it, but for some reason it didn't stay. I cut that anchor out using a scroll saw from Proxon's tools, and it was super easy to do. I grabbed a pattern off the internet to use, and then I just traced it onto the thick chipboard that I found, and then cut that image out. Next, I'm grabbing Deco Art medium metallic silver to paint my chipboard pieces, and most of them are gears, and I also had a light bulb in there, a little finger, and a what do I want to call that, a a knob, I guess you could call it. And they are all from Gina Laser Cut Designs. Now when I was stamping with the metallic paint is not as translucent as the paint that I used earlier. So I do end up going back over all of these pieces with the industrial stamps from Andy Skinner and stamping over them to give them that look that I was after. And you'll see me do that here in a few. Because we know the gears are not shiny, they have to be dirty. Here I grabbed some Faber-Castell Texture Luxe in gold and just did a couple of the pieces that I wanted to stand out a little more. So even though I had painted them silver earlier, I didn't like the silver, so I went over just a few of them with the gold, and it really helped them stand out later. That I really like the way that looks. And here I am grabbing, again, the Andy Skinner industrial stamps from Stampendous and my Indian ink, again in black, and just going over each of those gears and grunging them up and making them look dirty and not so shiny. Can't have that shiny look. I needed it to look dirty and old. And these stamps sure make it super easy for you to do so. If you like that look of having an industrial, old, marked up look like it's been around forever, you will just fall in love with these stamps. Here I'm grabbing some Rub and Buff in a patina, and I'm just going and adding it in just little sections to give it really an aged look. Because again, I have kind of a rusty look with the paint that I got, and that I love the look. But I wanted it just to look like it's been around for a really long time, so I got it all patinaed up. Really like the way this looks. And you do, it is rub and buff, so you put it on and then you buff it out. That's what I'm using the paper towel there to really buff it out and give it that agey look and that patina that it would get if it was out in the weathered, being all weathered. Love the way this turned out. Really concentrated on my edges, because if you think about it being out in the weather, water and stuff would come from the edges down. Now I'm starting to build my scene to figure out how I exactly want all these pieces to lay on here. And I always do this first. I lay them out before I adhere anything down. That way, if you don't like something, you can change it now. Once you put glue on it, sometimes you just can't change it. So always a great tip. Here I'm grabbing my fine line applicator that's filled with white glue, and this is really an awesome tool if you don't own one of these already. It's got a really fine little tip on it, so you can glue down these tiny pieces that we tend to get in chipboard. Really, really helps a lot. And starting to adhere down my gears and all of my pieces. When you're doing gears, make sure that the the gears are actually touching each other in a way that they would actually look like they are moving. Once I took that key, that's what it's called, a key at the end. That's what I'm gluing on right there, is like a key. And if I would turn the key, the gears would move, and that my little finger would pull the light cord and turn on my light. In the center of the light, it says life is a vision. A little hard to read right there because of the white glue is still not dry, so it still has a white look to it. And I want to thank you very much for stopping by.